Have you ever built a DJ set, but it felt like it was just a bunch of random songs thrown together? Well, today I'm going to show you how to build a set that flows, hits, and keeps the crowd engaged. You are watching the DJ Mentor. Real tips, real music, real growth. Even if your transitions are clean, if the order of your songs don't make sense, then your DJ set is just going to feel off. Your DJ set has to tell a story. There has to be a certain order of things, and this is what we call structure. Let's use two hugely popular YouTube sets to break this down. So over here we have Fred Again's hugely viral balcony set, and over here we have Solomon's most viewed YouTube set on, most viewed DJ set on YouTube. So I want to start by saying both are very cinematic, perfect settings, crowds are engaging, but for this video we want to break down the basics. So we're not talking about the visuals of overproduction. We want to talk about the basics of set structure, common mistakes, and exactly what you need to start building your first DJ sets. So I want you to also keep in mind that Solomon's set was recorded in 2015. However, it is evergreen. So I'm making this video in 2025 and it has still stood the test of time. People still watch it. So let's break down exactly what he did to keep everyone's attention. So Solomon uses a strategic buildup of emotional energy. I almost clicked off of the video because the very beginning to me felt a little melancholic, but it's kind of on purpose. So he starts very melodic and slow. Then he peaks with soulful, vocal-driven tracks like his own Something We All Adore. But here's where the magic happens. He closes with nostalgic classics. So two tracks I remember were Old School Baby and Horny. Those two tracks at the time were 12 to 13 years old when this 2015 set was recorded. So it just goes to show it's not all about playing Beatport Top 40 or Top 100. All the other tracks in that set were about 1, 2, or 3 years old, but I noticed those specific old school tracks really got the crowd moving, and they were strategically positioned towards the very end of the set. So the lesson here is plan your sets in phrases, just like your songs are split up into phrases. So you warm up, then you peak again, and then in this specific case, a nostalgic close. And I say phrases because I look at sets just like individual songs, but extended. So in your individual songs, you have your intro, you have your chorus, you have your breakdown, you have your last chorus or your last peak, and then your final breakdown. Just like that structure Solomon's following. You warm up, you peak, there's a little bit of a carrying the energy, so you can call that the breakdown, you peak again, and then you close. Now, Fred Again demonstrates a masterful emotional arc and build-up. So he starts with a melodic tone and simple vocal loops. He's in no rush, but he slowly evolves and gradually builds up the energy. Then he moves from ambient intros into uplifting climaxes, keeping the set human-centered and building the energy naturally. Your takeaway is craft a journey with your sets. Think intro, emotional groove, peak, and then emotional release. But now let's compare Tita Lau's set in London. This is another viral set. This one's a bit newer, however, it's a completely different setting, and I still want to break this down. So in this case, it's a little different because it's a club setting, and then she's also playing this for one of James Hype's events. Her set is very energy, or let's say it's high level energy, let's say energy level 8 to 9 consistently throughout the whole set. Opens very strong, very unique, and then maintains that energy. Also, there's a very consistent feel in her sound. So the first 30 to 40 minutes is a very tech house sound, minimal bass, loud claps, clean claps, hi-hats, that consistent for most of the set, and then she goes into more techno, harder sounds. So this is a little bit different, and I bring this up to show that there's no one formula. You have to, number one, kind of understand your venue, understand your crowd, and then craft your sets based off of that. I also want to note her stage energy is authentic and highly engaging. And a part of that plays into the use of her effects. She's a masterful user of those effects. Some key observations I noticed with the effects. She was very creative with the use of the reverb and the echo to stretch transitions and then make space between the drops. And she rode the high pass and the low pass filters frequently, managing the energy and then sometimes teasing new drops. And then on several transitions, she would loop a vocal or percussive element, add some reverb, echo it out, and then drop in the new track. Her style of mixing is very similar to the way I like to mix. I love the use of effects and looping, especially at the end. I love looping vocals or really, great sounding instrumentals or percussive parts, and then slowly teasing in the new track. Now let's set the framework. This is a formula I use almost every time. I play sunset sessions and club sessions. So this is a formula you can use with any genre. So for your intro, this is your first 1 to 3 tracks. Keep it simple. Think minimal, groove focused, ambient. This is about you warming up the space and setting the tone. Next up is your groove zone. This will be after track 3, and then this is where you lock in the energy. This is where you let the drums and the rhythm drive the momentum. By now everyone was well warmed up and acquainted to the space. This is peak time. Bangers, tension, emotion, harmonic transitions, dramatic transitions. This is where you express yourself. Use the vocals. This is where you hit the hardest. And then finally, you close or reset. These are your final 2 tracks. So depending on your set time, you either wind it down or leave them hyped up, but you always want to leave them wanting more. Now let's talk about track selection. So when you're choosing tracks, keep this in mind. First things first, your BPM or your speed. So you're going to organize your tracks by speed, and you want to have usually a gradual buildup of speed. You don't want to be jumping up and down. So organize your playlist from your slowest songs leading on to your highest songs. You also want to consider key compatibility. So moving from track to track, you want to move in a harmonic fashion, and you don't want to be jumping energy. You want it to be a smooth buildup. You also want to consider mood. So you can group your tracks by emotion, so pretty much how each track makes you feel. So I use a color coding, as you can see here, to help me organize my tracks to kind of set the mood and helps me quickly choose what I think would be more suiting for very specific times. And then of course, personal bangers. You always want 2 to 3 of your own favorite personal bangers because that expresses yourself and also shows your energy. It helps you connect with the audience in an authentic way. Okay, let's jump right into rekordbox. So this is a real set I'm building right in the moment. I started building this about 2 days ago, so this is my process here. And I've organized about 34 songs. This is for my melodic journey set 22. And as you can see, so far I've organized it by BPM mostly, and then also by feel. So you see the color over here. My green is relaxing, natural. Then I go into warmer sounds, and then I peak with aggressive sounds. And then these at the end, I'm still sorting to see if, to see what works best. Because in reality, I've been playing these tracks for about 2 days, just seeing how they mix with each other. And in real life, I've opened with this track a couple of times for sunset sessions, and it's great. At 118, it's nice and slow, it's smooth. However, so far I just don't think it's vibing with this set. And then Lost in the Desert is not vibing with this set at all. I'm loving this song, this song, this song, this song. But I'm thinking of maybe even starting this set a little bit warm and friendly with songs like No Title Yet and Teflon. But the point is, I'm building with a structure, but then I'm also experimenting to see how things actually sound in practice. So I have a notes pad where I've taken notes as I listen and practice transitions to see what sounds good and what doesn't sound good. So there's some tracks that just transition amazingly and perfectly, but then, it's all about testing your theory to see if your theory actually matches up with reality. So I'm going to give you guys an insider tip. Something you can also try is ChatGPT. So you can literally just take a screenshot of your library, put it into ChatGPT, and then give it a prompt such as, can you give me a harmonic set, or, pretty much build a set for me. That's a super cheat code. Or you could use a software called Mixed in Key. I personally, so the thing with mixed in key though is it costs $99 US dollars to buy mixed in key Pro 11. So if you get the mixed in key, it does pretty well for helping you build sets. However, not all of us have 99 bucks. So if you don't have 99 bucks, maybe you have 20 bucks, you could use ChatGPT, or you could just be old school and experiment. So my method of building sets is a combination of building sets with experimentation, but then I also use the tools I have to my disposal, which are mixed in key as well as ChatGPT. And then from there, I see what's best, I practice, I experiment, and then I take it out into the real world. Okay, let's jump back into the video. Now here's what not to do. Do not peak too early. Don't be the show-off DJ. So, for example, don't play your bangers right at the beginning. Don't try to outperform everyone else. Like, let's say you're playing at night, there has to be a gradual buildup of energy. It's natural to build up the energy. Do not throw in a random genre with no transition. That is just ugly. Do not play your best tracks back to back. This is a mistake that I've made myself, and there's nothing worse than using all your best music and then you're like, Actually, in a real life situation, I played for about 5 hours, so it was kind of inevitable. I was going to go through all my best tracks. So after 4 hours, I wanted to leave, and the crowd would not let me leave. They said, like, you got to keep playing. And I'm like, no, I'm finished. And they said, we'll pay you. So I said, okay. But I had no music left. And that last hour, I swear, I was downloading music as I was playing that set. It was pretty wild. And finally, don't forget to play with the crowd. This is not about you. This is about everyone as a collective, but mainly about making sure everyone else is happy as well. So now you know how to play a set without sounding cheesy. And remember, this is about crafting a journey. You're taking people on an emotional ride. On the next episode, I'm going to show you how to use effects properly. And again, not